Today we're 3D printing a HIMARS rocket system. So I've been looking for a 3D model for this for quite some time and this one popped up. So let's have a go at it and see how it turns out. And as you can see, this required a lot of supports to print out and a lot of cleanup afterwards to make this look half decent. So this is the big downside to this 3D model. It's not the easiest to get off without obviously all the supports to keep it in one piece. But otherwise, it's a really nice model. It's the best HIMARS one I've found so far. And of course, it's free, link in the description below. So definitely worth giving it a go if you want to have your own little HIMARS. And the fact that it is functional too, because it has the bit on the back that goes up and down and spins, is pretty damn excellent. So there's some really nice thought being put into this. The only change I would make, if possible, would be to have the undercarriage be a separate print from the main body. That way you'd probably take away 90% of the actual supports you need when printing this. There's also a lot of additional little pieces. You can see those black pieces there have to be added to the cab, which are basically just like the handles and the wing mirrors. And then you've also got a part that goes in the back here. And I didn't need to glue this in, it was perfect. And I just whacked in with a hammer and there we go. So yeah, that is our main body overall done. I'll also mention there is a few additional parts, but there's no instructions, so I actually have a few pieces that I don't know where they go. And now we're assembling the launcher system on the back. This is fully articulated when we install it, so it's going to be able to spin around and go up and down. Now, you can glue the rocket pod in, but I decided not to because this piece here glues on top and they kind of make a nice sandwich, which the rocket pod can then slide into quite neatly. So you can either have it be glued in, or you can have it so that it can be removed. Maybe you want to have a little diorama where this thing's sitting with a few extra rocket pods sitting next to it or something like that, like it's just fired. But overall, we're kind of getting close to being done. The next thing is to add our hinge here, and this simply goes in with a paper clip. Nice simple design so that it can then hinge up and down, and then we'll add a peg later when it's installed that will allow us to put it at any angle we want to have it at. So very cool. And then once the paperclip is installed as basically your axle, then just trim it to size and give it a little bend on each side so it's not going to come out and you're done. And then I went ahead and I painted up the wheels just to add a little bit more detail to them with some green for the hubcaps. And this would give us basically our finishing touches and we can start putting this thing fully together. Now it's time for assembly. So of course you can see the rocket pod goes into, I don't actually know what you'd call this, the rocket sled at the back maybe. But certainly you can see that's our rear with the hinge. We're going to add that on. But before that, I'm going to install our axles and our wheels. And then this will really start bringing this whole thing together. Now I do believe the HIMARS is based on the normal cargo transports of the United States military. So this right now could just be a cargo truck without its rear bed. So until we actually put the rocket on the back, this isn't quite a HIMARS yet. Now the rocket itself goes on backwards first, and this will then lock it in so that it can only come out that direction and is now locked in any other directions. There's also a peg that goes in here, and it is simply a rotation where you can then put it to any height you would like it to be firing at, and of course you can also close it, and it can rotate 360 degrees as well. And then I'm going to do a tiny bit of painting on these black pieces just to finish this off, and then we're done. That's it. Our HIMARS is complete. I have been looking pretty much, I think actually since I got this 3D printer and the whole conflict kicked off, I've been looking for a HIMARS to print off because it does look not exactly the most intimidating of things, but of course it's been made famous these days by its action. And yeah, I think it looks really good. Awesome little 3D print. It's not perfect, like I say, there's maybe too much support needed to print it, but it is awesome and it looks great and I'm very happy with it, and it's by far the best one I've found so far. And yeah, I do have some additional parts to print off with this, and I don't know where they go. I could not figure out at all. I looked over the original screenshots of the original designer stuff, and I could not figure out where those little bits go at all. So maybe you guys will figure that out yourselves, but I gotta say, this thing is brilliant, looks sensational. I love that it is articulated, it is functional, and yeah, looks really good. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.